Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of the Quit Volleyball Challenge, which I'm super excited for it. You all voted on who you want to see next, and you decided on Hinata and therefore TsukiYamaKageHina as a ship. I am so hyped. I really liked how this turned out. I hope you liked it too, so let's go. Have you ever had struggles finding good Haikyuu merch or anime merch in general? Because I for sure did. It can be hard, but this shop offers amazing merch. Like, I'm literally obsessed with the Haikyuu merch. They have the cutest hoodies ever. Now, if you want to get 10% off, click the link in the description. They offer me a collaboration which is literally amazing, and you support my channel this way. So, win-win. Let's go. The whole way home from practice, Hinata was giddy with anticipation. He had a feeling the challenge would turn out more than interesting. After all, he was known for his obsessiveness with volleyball. If at all, this was an easy one to get right. It wasn't even a subtle change in behavior after all. He couldn't wait to see their faces when he told them. It wasn't quite what he had in mind as revenge after Tadashi pretended to faint and Tsukishima not to wake up. This wasn't even half as mean. But it sounded fun nonetheless, so they would get off easy, he guessed. For now. This certainly wouldn't prevent him from doing another challenge in the future. The elderly woman who sat down next to him on the train and watched him with disapproval remarked on his more or less silent excitement by clearing her throat and motioning toward the sign that said to keep quiet. He huffed, but made an effort to stay still, which was really hard, everything considered. He tried distracting himself by formulating a plan in his mind. Practice had gone on a little longer than usual, so Kageyama would be home already. Tsukishima, on the other hand, usually stayed a little later on Tuesdays, and Tadashi would have been heading out to do the grocery shopping. In conclusion, Kageyama would be his first target. An almost sinister smile, as sinister as the epitome of sunshine could be, spread on his face, and he resumed his previous tapping on the subway floor automatically. Upon arriving at the station, he shouldered his bag and practically stormed out of the train apartment. From there, it took him less than 10 minutes to reach the house in a rush, and he could barely contain his grin as he stood at the front door. The light was on. Kageyama was home. With the little self-control he could muster, he stopped himself before entering to get his expression under control. If he wanted this to be convincing, he must look at least a little down or disinterested. At least for Tobio. He assumed it would take a little more to convince Kei, but he could worry about that when Kageyama had fallen for it. With a schooled expression of attempted indifference, rid of any of his typical joy, he opened the door and stepped inside. Just as he was in the process of taking his shoes off, Kageyama already appeared in the doorframe separating the hallway and the living room. Hey. A little awkward, Kageyama stood in the doorway, and Hinata had to try hard to suppress the smile tugging at his lips. Kageyama had become a lot more comfortable with them over the years, and a lot more expressive in terms of affection. Still, there was the occasional day on which he struggled to find the right words and gestures to convey what he wanted to say, and to the ginger, that was downright adorable. But today, he wasn't allowed to let that distract him. He took a deep breath, sighed, and shouldered his bag again before walking past him without sparing Kageyama a glance. The setter looked surprised and tensed as he observed him. There was a moment of silence when suddenly 2 arms wrapped around the spiker from behind. Tobio nuzzled his nose into the iron chair as he always did when upset or trying to cheer Hinata up. "Are you okay?" The genuine concern in his voice made Hinata almost feel guilty about the challenge, but not quite enough. It's nothing, just I'm thinking about quitting volleyball. Kageyama froze, and Hinata took the chance to wiggle himself out of his partner's arms. He gave him a half-hearted grin, trying to appear unfazed by the utter shock written on the taller's face. Kageyama hadn't recovered yet when Hinata already climbed up the stairs to unpack his bag and go about his daily chores. Only when the door fell shut behind him did he allow himself a chuckle to slip past his lips. That look on Tobia's face was priceless. With new energy running through his system, he picked up the laundry basket to carry it to the washing room. Kageyama got startled as he saw him brush past him in his typical, cheerful manner. He visibly hadn't recovered from the shock yet, and somehow his upbeat attitude following his announcement seemed to make it worse. Hinata grinned brightly. However, when he returned to the living room, the setter was nowhere to be found. His brows furrowed, but just as he was about to set out and find him, the door opened. The wonderful symphony of Tadashi's laughter filled the hallway. He was engrossed in a conversation with Tsukishima as they stepped through the door and took off their shoes. It was so simple, yet so comforting that it warmed Hinata's heart, and for a moment he forgot the challenge. That was until Kageyama returned to join them. He looked still rather pale, but a new determination had settled on his face. Tobio? Are you alright? You look like you have seen a ghost. He paid him no mind whatsoever as he turned straight to Hinata again. The ginger realized only now that he held his phone in hand tightly. Had he called someone? I think you shouldn't quit volleyball. He looked so serious and like he seriously struggled to string the words together he wanted. He seemed to think hard about it while glancing back at his phone, as if trying to remember what the other person had said. Wait, what? I think you are a really good spiker and you shouldn't quit because your team needs you and... It sounded almost like he tried to remember a script he had been given. Stop. Nobody is quitting volleyball. What is going on here? I did. Not the point. The longer this went on, the harder it was for Hinata not to laugh. He tried really hard to put on a serious expression and bit the inside of his cheek so as not to reveal the challenge. Shoya wants to quit volleyball. There was a stunned silence spreading through the room before Tsukishima dropped the grocery bags Yamaguchi brought with a thud. I said I was thinking about it, not that I would do it. He weakly defended himself and looked down as if seriously considering it or embarrassed. With him, however, essentially proving that what Kageyama said was right, the heavy silence returned. They stood all frozen in place before Tsukishima suddenly got out his phone. "Okay, what are you doing?" Calling 911. He obviously must have fallen down one too many times today and suffered brain damage. Hey! Really, I would have thought you'd have learned by now to receive with your arms, not your face. Don't be mean, Kate. Hinata huffed in protest and crossed his arms over his chest. I'm not injured and I don't need an ambulance. Then I need one, because obviously I'm hallucinating. I thought you said you wanted to quit volleyball. I did. I said I was thinking about it. Call me one too. I'm hearing the same thing. Tadashi, not you too. I think you have worked really hard and shouldn't... You are all making fun of me. He pouted when suddenly Kageyama grabbed him by the shoulders tightly. Why do you want to quit volleyball? It makes no sense. You love volleyball. We wanted to play at the Olympics together, remember? He didn't expect such a strong reaction from the usually more reserved setter, at least when it wasn't about him directly. For a moment, Hinata was too stunned to reply. Alright, let's talk this through, slowly. I can't believe this, to be honest. It still hasn't quite sunk in. He chuckled nervously. I honestly thought they'd call me one day to drag you one by one from the court before either of you willingly retired. Don't rope me in with these volleyball idiots. I'm not that obsessed. Yamaguchi looked at him with a disbelieving gaze that simply said, "Are you sure about that?" Which Tsukishima barely commented on as he turned back to the ginger. But Tobia's right. What are you thinking? And why so suddenly? I don't know. It's not like anyone expected me to make it so far in volleyball. He wanted to see how far he could take this. He considered even adding least of all you, but he knew very well that Tsukishima and Kageyama weren't the kindest to their younger selves, so he dropped it. It wasn't like he wanted this challenge to be a painful one. So what? As if you didn't always take those statements as a challenge and prove them wrong. Look where you are today. Yamaguchi, after doing a lot of work on himself, bleaching the bottom half of his hair and becoming the probably most attractive guy in a 100-mile radius, if not further, was the last person you wanted catching you not being kind to yourself. It was evident that he only learned from the best in that department, namely Suga and Enoshita, and he wouldn't let it fly for even a second if someone dared to insult themselves. That was particularly true for his partners. Hinata gulped. Earning himself Tadashi's wrath definitely hadn't been on his to-do list today. Right. The green-haired's expression softened, and he walked toward him to gently take Hinata's hand. Then what is it, Sho? You have worked so hard for this. You're not seriously considering throwing it all away, do you? Of course, if that's really how you feel, we'll... No, actually... You see, there was this reporter and... Well, long story short, it was a prank? Yamaguchi let out a sigh of relief. Tsukishima just ignored the stuff he had left on the floor while walking out annoyed, and Kageyama still seemed a bit puzzled, as though he couldn't decide between anger and relief. For a brief second, there was also hurt flashing over his face, and Hinata quickly slung his arms around the setter. I'm sorry. Of course I don't want to quit volleyball. Good. A small giggle bubbled up in Hinata's chest as he pressed himself tighter to the raven's neck. You spent too much time with Oshiwaka. You almost sound like him. Kageyama let out a short, relieved chuckle as well before reciprocating the hug. Next time you give me a heart attack like this, I'll spike a volleyball straight to your head. Perhaps that's more of Iwaizumi-san's influence. Kageyama? What's up? What did you call? Something is wrong with Shoyo. Okay, calm down. I'm sure it's nothing too serious. What is he? He said he wanted to quit volleyball. Call an ambulance. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on this video because it really helps me out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more content, including the next parts. Now, I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation at some parts. English was not Englishing today. I tried my best. The language just stopped working. As always though, tell me your favorite quote of this video or favorite moment under the pinned comment, and a special thanks goes out to my nerdy neckos. Thank you so much Kodoka95 for becoming a nerdy neko as well. Here are my other social media, though I'm most active on Chatty and of course here on YouTube. There are more videos in the uncut and I heard the algorithm loves it if you click on those. So now I hope you have a wonderful, amazing day. Check these out.
Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.